Welcome to In the Field with MGS. In part 1 of this episode, we discuss collecting cores, how core data can be used, and the importance of preserving cores. Cores are the best physical source of data about subsurface geology. Because of their size, usually 4 inches in diameter and often hundreds of feet deep, they show structures and rock types. Cores can be used for stratigraphic correlation, environmental interpretation, and wireline log calibration. When sampled, cores provide data about rock composition, porosity, permeability, and resource quality. Cores are often drilled during oil, gas, and mineral exploration. They may also be drilled for surficial mapping, engineering projects, and road construction. Different methods are used for recovering different types of cores. In fine sediments, a piston core may be used to shoot the hollow drill pipe through the layers of sediment, or a weighted gravity core may be allowed to free fall into the sediment. In denser sediment or rock, a rotary core barrel is used. Generally, a hollow coring bit grinds away the rock, leaving a cylindrical core of rock at its center. This core is retained inside a core barrel, which is mounted just above the bit. The core barrel consists of an inner and outer barrel and a core catcher. The catcher keeps the core from slipping out through the hollow bit when the assembly is retrieved to the surface. As the core is removed from the assembly, it is laid out and then scribed with depth markings and orientation lines. Cores are commonly used in the petroleum industry. Analysis of cores can provide direct evidence of the presence, quantity, distribution, and deliverability of hydrocarbons. Cores are essential to understanding the nature of the pore system in the reservoir and enhance the ability to predict reservoir performance and to select procedures to maximize hydrocarbon recovery. Usually only a few intervals in a small number of wells are cored. Data from these cores are then combined with wireline log data to calibrate and correctly interpret the wireline log responses. You can learn more about wireline logging from our video on wireline logging equipment and data collection. To learn more about how core samples can be used in research, I spoke with Dr. Peter Voice, a research associate and director of outreach at the Michigan Geological Repository for Research and Education, about some recent projects.
We map the local bedrock. Dr. Harrison and I finished a bedrock map of Wayne County that shows if you stripped away the soil and the glacial sediments, what you would see in terms of the rocks beneath our feet. And that kind of map is important because it tells us the nature of the materials that we might be building on top of. It tells us what natural resources might be available in that area. For example, in the very southeastern corner of Wayne County and going into neighboring Monroe County, there are some exceptionally pure quartz sandstones that are medical grade sands that they actually use to make surgical implements. We have done projects looking at the assessment of critical mineral resources that has been done statewide, looking for materials that currently the U.S. has to import, various types of rare earth elements. Potassium is a pretty significant resource. We ended up having significant potassium salts present in the subsurface in the central part of the lower peninsula. And potassium ends up being a critical resource for agriculture because it's one of the ingredients in fertilizers. And right now, the two countries that produce the bulk of the potassium for fertilizers are Canada and Russia. And so it'd be a lot cheaper for Michigan farmers if there was a local source of those fertilizers. Carbon sequestration projects, looking at how we can extract carbon dioxide from industry and store it down in the subsurface in old oil reservoirs. We know those reservoirs held oil for tens, maybe hundreds of millions of years. And so if we put carbon dioxide down in there, it's going to stay down there. And that might help us with keeping the carbon dioxide levels in our atmosphere lower.
Cores that were originally drilled for one purpose may be used in a variety of research projects. As part of the Michigan Geological Survey, The Michigan Geological Repository for Research and Education is mandated by legislation to collect and preserve these cores as well as other geological samples and data. Stay tuned for part 2 of this episode, where we'll take a closer look at the collection maintained by the MGRRE at Western Michigan University.